Oh, hi, I'm Jason Klamm. I hope you enjoyed that blurry image of my baseball cap for America's Next Top Model. That's a TV show that I worked on for a couple of cycles in the mid-aughts, and that is just one example of the many near anecdotes that you will get at my Patreon page, patreon.com/stolendress. I've had some very kind supporters there over the years, people who have been very patiently waiting for me to put more and more stuff out. But now you will find videos where I walk and talk like this and tell you things about my life. Sometimes I talk about my movies, sometimes my books, like my book, We're Not Worthy, which came out last September from 1984 Publishing. It's the history of 90s sketch comedy. My patrons at the time were mentioned in the acknowledgments of that book. If you join up now, you will find, obviously, all my old posts, and that includes free links to my movies that aren't available out there for free. Two of them are. One of them isn't. And that one you can find. There is a link for patrons there. Sometimes I provide books. Sometimes I provide advanced stuff like blogs, etc. And lately it's mostly been these videos. Now, why me? Other than the fact that I worked for 2 whole cycles, not even years, on America's Next Top Model? Well, that's a very good question, and one of those things that I will certainly get to, I'm sure, by the end of this video. While I'm an actor, I was part of a stage show in Los Angeles called A Drinking Game. Pretty big thing out there. I'm a writer. Like I say, my last book, We're Not Worthy, came out last year from 1984 Publishing. I'm a filmmaker. I've made 3 feature films. I've produced over 1,200 podcast episodes. I've done a lot of fun stuff, and I was an extra a bunch. I have a podcast about being an extra, which it doesn't sound very exciting maybe, but I promise you it is. But maybe the most exciting thing is the authorhood. I've been an author for a long time, but this sort of becoming, you know, regularly paid to be one is a pretty new thing, and it's happened since I became a Patreon person, and since I've had actual patrons up there, which took a while to happen. But once it did, I was very grateful for it. Those folks, and maybe you, if you want to, you know, can help pay for me to have web hosting and stuff for the many stupid websites I have that are out there. So if you join today, again, patreon.com/stolendress, then you're kind of just going to be able to see my progress as a working author. Oh gosh, oh gosh, oh gosh. Sorry about that. That was real-time video of me being very worried that somebody's going to run over a squirrel, and it didn't happen. Yay, I love animals. That's another thing you might like about me. I like animals, and I don't care who knows it. But yeah, as I say, I don't know, if you want to watch somebody's journey to becoming an author, somebody's journey to figuring out the whole agenting process, getting other stuff produced and written and published, then patreon.com/stolendress is a really good place to go. All that to say, I do try and tell something of a story in each one of these videos. So here's the part that's less of a pitch and more of just a story. And I figured why not pick the thing that's most appropriate to YouTube, which is my early viral video hit. And when I say early, I mean 4 years before YouTube ever existed. I did a music video that was a parody of another music video. It's called Tunak, Tunak, Tun, T-U-N-A-K, T-U-N-A-K, T-U-N, by a Bhangra pop star named Dollar Mendy. Don't look him up. He's become very problematic, but long story short, his was one of the first viral videos, and ours was the first viral video to sort of glom on to another viral video. So we're the impetus of this meme. And I say ours, I directed it, I shot it, I edited it, but my best friend Dan Gomiller, also known as the Lord of the ... dance ? Or just Lord of the Dance, he started it. He did all the dances. Poorly, I think he'll admit. Very goofy. He dances with a vacuum cleaner at some point. Now, mind you, this is in the days before you could monetize. Monetizing was not a thing on the internet, at least not for that kind of thing. Dan did sell a little bit of merch here and there, but it wasn't the kind of thing where you could really make a living off of making internet video. Even the people who were well known at the time, like Joe Cartoon, I don't think that was their main thing. I could be wrong, but I will say making live action video for the internet was almost impossible. This video was shot at 320 by 240, rendered at 320 by 240. Very, very low resolution. Looks pretty terrible. We have uploaded it. Dan and I both uploaded it to our YouTubes, so you can find that there as well. We did try and follow it up with another Dollar Mendy parody, because I guess that's what you do. And Dan and I are sketch comedians, improv comedians. We've been doing this for a very long time, but that was our first taste of internet fame, I guess. Now, you're probably going to ask, oh, it went viral. Give me some numbers. Well, when I tell you the numbers, they're going to be laughable at best. So at the time, it was tens of thousands a day, maybe a little over 10,000 a day was all it took, though, to shut down Dan's web server. Dan had I think like a regular, like local hosting thing that, you know, gave him very little bandwidth. And at the time, videos mostly spread through email attachments. In our case, people were actually sending the link around for the most part. And because of that, it drained Dan's bandwidth. And he had to, for the first time, pay money for web hosting, which again, kind of full circle. That's one of the things that Patreon enables me to do, to make more classic 2001 era music videos. That's not something I still do. But yeah, because of that, Dan had to get web hosting for the first time. And that's what going viral was like in 2001. It wasn't a big deal. I find it to be a really interesting evolution now, because people don't, I mean, things can go viral, but it happens every day now. Back then, maybe once every few months, you know, you might see something like that happen. And again, it wasn't to the level that it is now, when things can get billions of views, which is insane to me. And it's still exciting. It's one of the things that keeps the internet exciting for me. Another thing is, at the time, viral video was a term reserved almost exclusively for advertisements. It was a way they tried to get the word out through making video that was sort of non-traditional. Then it came to sort of mean things that would catch on, like a virus. That were not just advertising based. And that didn't happen really, I don't think, till maybe not even till YouTube. I know that when we made our video and it became something of a hit, viral video wasn't used. That's not a term we knew to use. What's more interesting now is you'll see people who are successful YouTubers, we're talking millionaires, maybe bordering on billionaires, who use the term virality in a way that doesn't make any sense. Like, you know, where's the virality to this video? As though there's a recipe for success, when the recipe is you did really well and had a great viral video at one point that caught on, you got a lot of subscribers, and now you just have millions of people who watch your videos, and maybe sometimes fewer millions watch another video. You're no longer going viral. It's not a thing anymore. Which is a long way to say, I mean, that video happened while I was in college away in Chicago. Grew up in upstate New York with Dan Gomiller, again, my comedy partner in Dan and Jay's Comedy Hour. We've been a concern for 30 years now. That was the first thing that anybody ever noticed that we did, pretty much, as well as our comedy album that same year called Shoestrings. And since then, I've made a bunch of other comedy albums, podcasts about comedy albums, podcasts about TV shows, books, movies, stage shows, etc., etc., etc. The one thing that ties all this together, of course, is comedy. Comedy is pretty much my life. It's my favorite thing to do. It makes me the happiest. And I love doing comedy with Dan still. So that's the short version. At some point, maybe I'll expand it and talk with Dan a little more, although I know we've talked about it on the Dan and Jay's Comedy Hour podcast, which you should definitely check out. And if people start supporting that tier over at Patreon, we can start adding a little bit more stuff for the patrons. Although I will say I'm also going to rejigger the whole sort of patron system, all the tiers and stuff, because when I designed it, I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and I barely know what I'm doing now. I think the only logical leap to make now is that I'm working on a few other books, researching a couple books, actively writing a couple of books. Some of them are nonfiction. The stuff I'm actively writing is fiction. The stuff I'm actively researching is nonfiction. I'm pitching stuff, trying to get agents, all that good shit. And that's the stuff I talk about over at Patreon. And then a weird little note, the last time I tried to shoot this video, I was in my car, and someone blew a stop sign, and we almost collided because they were not very smart. And I didn't want to upload a video of me going, "No, fuck, and, you know, flipping the middle finger and being a real classy dude. So instead, here's a video of me freaking out that I'm going to see an animal perish, which, again, thank goodness, did not happen. So if you would, check out Patreon. Maybe I'll occasionally do a few more free videos. Happy to do that if anybody's interested. If not, they're going to go up on Patreon regardless. Regardless of how many people actually watch them, they're going to go up because, you know, full realized projects are few and far between at this stage, mostly because I'm ghostwriting a book that's taking up a lot of my time, and that's something I talk about over there. Nothing breachy. I'm not breaching any NDAs over there, but the process of ghostwriting is definitely something I'm talking about over there as well. So that's about it. Patreon.com/StolenDress. If you have any questions, add them in the comments. All that good stuff. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.